My brightly plumed feathers are intentionally, permanently clipped, ensuring that my potential for flight is entirely, securely stripped. I am surrounded by incredibly expensive, shiny little trinkets, but my geographical perimeter is completely defined by limits.
The enclosure is securely fastened with a heavy diamond padlock.
I stare miserably at the remarkably ornate ticking grandfather clock,
provided with gourmet seeds
upon a tiny, exquisite platinum platter. But my fundamental lack of liberty is the only thing that matters.
I polish the shiny vertical metallic bars until they perfectly gleam, maintaining this highly restrictive, completely luxurious dream. Observing the beautiful captive singing a remarkably sorrowful melody, a magnificent demonstration of highly expensive
tragic acoustic tragedy. I ensure the water dispenser is filled with remarkably pure artisan spring, listening to the incredibly sad notes that the lovely captive sings. The architecture of this prison is undeniably, phenomenally stunning,
but it prevents any sort of escaping
or highly desperate running. Surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrifice and my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map.
I hang a beautiful crystal mirror inside the lavish enclosure, maintaining a wealthy captive's highly photogenic composure, a remarkably selfish desire to possess such an exquisite creature, highlighting every single delicate, highly attractive feature. Purchase price was an astronomically high,
ridiculous sum,
ensuring that the desired freedom will absolutely never come. I drape a heavy velvet cloth over the top
when it gets dark,
denying the captive any glimpse of the sprawling
public park. I gaze longingly through the incredibly expensive, intricate lattice work, where the highly depressing, deeply isolating feelings continuously lurk. I desire the terrifying, unpredictable freedom of the open atmosphere, instead of the highly controlled, ridiculously safe environment here.
My vocalizations are praised by the wealthy,
visiting aristocracy,
but they fail to recognize this terrible,
confining hypocrisy. I will gladly trade this magnificent, shiny aurum perch for a completely dangerous, highly unscripted wild search, surrounded by an absolute incredible amount of wealth, sacrifice and my genuine psychological independent health, denied the basic fundamental right to soar the sky, watching the beautiful free sparrows flutter quickly by, trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison where the terrifying reality has finally painfully arisen, singing beautiful activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Beautifully constructed, miserable ascendance. The shiny trap offers absolute safety, but removes the soul. A devastatingly high, incredibly painful psychological toll. A turnkey, not free. Shine a bar, look far. Clipped wing must sing. Trapped inside this magnificent, heavily gilded cage, enduring a highly suppressed, incredibly silent rage. An ornately constructed, phenomenally expensive prison, where the terrifying reality is finally painfully arisen. Singing beautiful songs of absolute luxurious captivity, robbed of every single ounce of natural free activity. The shiny bars provide a highly deceptive, glamorous trap, erased completely from the giant geographical map. Lock the door, fly no more. Beautiful song, something wrong.
Flipping open a tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive, waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, attempting to resolve this highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive. I noticed the rosy smudge transferred directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical mind had feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. Oh, the rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness, wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudged reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peeled away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished
unpolished reality to begin.
The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate.
I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak.
The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration,
A highly unflattering
physically messy
manifestation.
You reapply the coloring,
But the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked. I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted and glamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application. A deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation. My lip liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside this superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout. The artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, except the unvarnished reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss. Wipe clean, face seen. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive, superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone, moving on. Sliding my calloused fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy emotion and musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord.
The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension,
accessing an entirely different, incredibly sorrowful dimension. My left hand trembles to produce the necessary thick vibrato, delivering this highly expressive musical manifesto.
I push the metallic string aggressively across the steel fret, the most highly emotional physical performance I have given yet. The note bends upwards, stretching the pitch into a terrible cry, a magnificent acoustic representation of a
tearful, sad goodbye.
The truss rod groans slightly under the immense
pulling weight,
a physical reaction to this highly depressive
musical state.
The magnetic pickups
capture every single microscopic vibration, translating the physical effort into an auditory revelation. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends a string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years.
I apply the heavy brass bottleneck to my little finger, allowing the incredibly sorrowful sliding notes to heavily linger.
The glass glides smoothly over the parallel metal bars, broadcasting my incredible sadness directly up to the stars. The harmonic overtones scream with a highly piercing wail, a beautiful instrumental, undeniably tragic fairy tale. I pluck the D string with an incredibly heavy, aggressive pick, executing a phenomenally complex, emotionally devastating trick. The calluses on my digits are heavily bruised and deeply worn, the physical consequence of playing music so incredibly forlorn. The amplifier tubes burn with a remarkably hot orange heat, while I manipulate the melody right above the reggae beat. The intonation is purposely adjusted to sound slightly sharp, creating a highly dissonant, deeply painful metallic harp. We force the instrument to vocalize our unspoken pain, a highly emotional, undeniably heavy musical rain. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. perfected over many years. Do not release the tension until the note completely dies. A magnificent translation of our heavy internal sighs. Let the rosewood fingerboard absorb the awful ache. A remarkably beautiful musical sacrifice we make. Push high, hold steady, hear it cry, release down, saddest sound. Listening to these beautifully weeping friends, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressed strange sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears. A phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Unplug the cord, silence the board. Neck is warm, music is born. Sliding my calloused fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy, emotional, musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension. The celestial canopy above is a magnificent deep azure, a highly faceted astronomical gemstone that feels incredibly pure. I stare upwards at the glittering, corundum-colored expanse, falling deeply into a highly sophisticated nocturnal trance.
The constellations resemble an intricate design diamond necklace, making all of our earthly trivial problems seem entirely reckless.
The atmosphere is painted in a profoundly rich cobalt dye, a brilliantly cut precious mineral dominating the entire sky.
I button my tailored midnight blue tuxedo jacket, leaving behind the chaotic noise and metropolitan racket.
The ocean reflects the exact same lapis lazuli tone as I stand upon the highly polished marble balcony alone.
The astronomical jewelry provides a highly expensive illumination, the most gorgeous speak
visual presentation,
a wealthy, deeply saturated oceanic type of hue,
engulfing the entire perimeter in a majestic royal blue. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights.
a deeply colored,
Incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more.
The optical properties of the atmosphere are flawlessly aligned.
The greatest, most valuable treasure that humanity could ever find.
I adjust my silver cufflinks and admire the stellar view,
surrounded completely by this incredibly wealthy royal blue.
The geological perfection of the heavens is
undeniable, a highly consistent, astronomically reliable
display of unimaginable
cosmic luxury, a magnificent, deeply saturated nocturnal sanctuary. The moonlight catches the facets of the atmospheric jewel, a highly sophisticated, undeniably beautiful astronomical rule. My velvet evening gown matches the sky perfectly, a completely intentional, highly fashionable aesthetic decree.
We observe the glittering panorama
From the penthouse suite, an incredibly exclusive, phenomenally beautiful retreat.
the ultimate pinnacle of atmospheric
Rich elegance, a highly valuable, deeply blue celestial presence. The precious mineral shines with immense clarity, a nocturnal display of ultimate rarity,
polished to a highly reflective,
gorgeous sheen, the most valuable evening we have ever seen. Basking in the glory of these sapphire nights, illuminated by the distant celestial lights. A deeply colored, incredibly expensive gemstone, a majestic, beautifully saturated blue zone. The astronomical wealth is prominently displayed, a magnificent, brilliant cut twilight parade, staring into the deep oceanic faceted core, leaving us absolutely desperate for more. Sky glows rich, perfect heat pitch, deepest blues, just us two. Sitting behind a massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio
supervisor.
The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase
shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter.
We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect,
a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect.
I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line,
the manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track, splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made, trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusion. studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom.
The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal crash to simulate a backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall. The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at. The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass, creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mixdown is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track, splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made, trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. From the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. Mute track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusion. Studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. Phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Cut the tape, false escape, power down, leave the sound. Sliding my callous fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy emotional musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholic, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension, accessing an entirely different, incredibly soulful dimension. My left hand trembles to produce the necessary thick vibrato, delivering this highly expressive musical manifesto. Oh, I push push the metallic string aggressively across the steel fret. The most highly emotional physical performance I have given yet. The note bends upwards, stretching the pitch into a terrible cry. A magnificent acoustic representation of a tearful, sad goodbye. The truss rod groans slightly under the immense pulling weight. A physical reaction to this highly depressive musical state. The magnetic pickups capture every single microscopic vibration, translating the physical effort into an auditory revelation. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustain pedal stretches the note into infinity. A remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. I apply the heavy brass bottleneck to my little finger, allowing the incredibly sorrowful sliding notes to heavily linger. The glass glides smoothly over the parallel metal bars, broadcasting my incredible sadness directly up to the stars. The harmonic overtone scream with the highly piercing wail, a beautiful instrumental, undeniably tragic fairy tale. I pluck the D string with an incredibly heavy aggressive pick, executing a phenomenally complex, emotionally devastating trick. The calluses on my digits are heavily bruised and deeply worn. The physical consequence of playing music so incredibly forlorn. The amplifier tubes burn with a remarkably hot orange heat, while I manipulate the melody right above the reggae beat. The intonation is purposely adjusted to sound slightly sharp, creating a highly dissonant, deeply painful metallic harp. We force the instrument to vocalize our unspoken pain, a highly emotional, undeniably heavy musical rap. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustain pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Unplug the cord, silence the board, neck is born, music is born.
incredibly raspy, unpolished to the bone. A harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barrack spare. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominated every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick.
Order a dark coffee to soothe a terrible scraping ache. The only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks.
There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sandpaper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Incredibly sick. smoothness across the entire local bar. Embrace the terribly unpolished horse delivery, remarkably authentic, highly texturally. Remarkably authentic, highly texturally. Listening to your incredibly raspy. Listening to your incredibly raspy. Listening to your incredibly raspy. A harsh, abrasive frequency. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed bones. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating bathysphere. The syllables grind together like a rusty and oiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning. A thick impenetrable fog rose deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gaslights flicker with a weak yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery wet path down below.
I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck,
refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck
my incredibly secretive,
highly clandestine midnight stroll. A deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul.
I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather loafers click distinctly against the ancient street, a highly rhythmic, incredibly steady beat. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side,
providing a magnificent, shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley.
I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling, damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist,
A highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist.
I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain,
Waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train.
the masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a
Structural witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot.
We meet entirely under the glow
Of the flickering lamp,
ignoring the
incredibly pervasive, bone-chilling down. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter that the city gets.
step, click,
Lamp, wick,
hide near,
do not fear,
turn right,
fade from sight. No! Taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley.
fog bros and
Secrets spin
footsteps fade.
in the shade. Sitting behind the massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upward pause to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio supervisor. The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter. We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect, a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect. I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line. A manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal crash to simulate a backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall.
The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at.
The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass,
creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mix down is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. Mute track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mix. parched landscape is deeply cracked and severely broken. Not a single drop of moisture has been miraculously spoken. I walk across the massive shifting golden sand dunes, singing these incredibly thirsty, nomadic, arid tunes. The solar radiation bakes the terracotta soil to a crisp, while the dry wind blows past with a terrifying lisp. My canteen has been completely empty for 3 entire days, wandering endlessly through this magnificent desert haze.
The vultures circle patiently above the barren canyon ridge, a massive geographical gap without a single wooden bridge.
I strike the stretched animal skin of my tribal hand drum, waiting for the elusive, mythical rain clouds to finally come. The drought has lasted for an unprecedented, terrible decade, leaving the entirely dehydrated ecosystem completely betrayed. I seek the elusive shade of a solitary prickly cactus plant, chanting a desperate, highly repetitive survivalist chant, thus swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute devastating lack of rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prison, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt.
The riverbed is completely devoid of any flowing streams, just a skeletal remains of our former aquatic dreams. I shake the hollow gourd filled with dried, rattling seeds, ignoring my severe, highly critical biological needs. The scorpions scurry beneath the baking jagged rocks, while the relentless equator sun continuously mocks our pathetic, desperate attempts to invoke the heavy storm, surviving the absolute harshest terrestrial norm.
The mirage shimmers deceptively on the vast horizon line, an optical trick of an incredibly cruel, malicious design. I tap my wooden walking stick against the petrified wood, understanding the severe consequences as I probably should. The percussion echoes weakly across the desolate flatlands, played entirely by my blistered, heavy, calloused hands. We march toward the distant, hazy, purple mountain peaks, a highly dangerous journey that takes several brutal weeks. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute, devastating lack of rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prison, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. A deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. Accept these terribly harsh fates. Strike the hollow star. Oh, 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 pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment, without a doubt. Sand blows, water goes, beat the drum, kingdom come. Sorting through the massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dread. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night.
I desperately tried to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug.
No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread, confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth.
I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demands. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I'm caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit, a highly devastating, incredibly painful romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amounts of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carry.
is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread, confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. Catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn.
Scrub hard, so deep,
lies told.
now we
Rinse out,
loud shout.
loud shout, confronting the reality of the stained car, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. Throw it out in the dark,
Close the door,
nevermore. Throw it out. Deep inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled corn mash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task.
the fermentation process
Slowly alters the chemical composition, a highly respected, deeply historical distilling tradition. The temperature fluctuates slightly with the changing season, extracting the robust flavors for a highly specific reason.
The master distiller inspects the heavily charred wooden staves, where the sleeping liquid remarkably
Quietly behaves.
the interior burning creates a highly caramelized
Sugary crust, a manufacturing technique that the distillery workers trust.
The alcohol slowly breathes through the porous
Timber grain, a deeply complex, magnificent agricultural domain.
We wait patiently for 12
Entire uninterrupted years, while the magnificent amber-colored liquor finally appears. The angels take the atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there. A botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Oh, I pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicated, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer
smoky, incredibly rich,
vanilla scented profile,
making the lengthy waiting period
incredibly worthwhile.
fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel,
Singing a beautifully potent
agricultural carol. I pulled a heavy cork directly from the bottleneck opening, listening to the magnificent syrupy liquid quietly singing. The viscosity is incredibly thick, resembling molasses, as I distribute the vintage liquid into the waiting glasses. The aroma is incredibly potent, featuring a hint of peat, a remarkably satisfying, highly sophisticated
adult treat.
The initial sip provides a
Significantly warm, soothing burn, a magnificent reward that we absolutely had to earn. The robust flavor profile aggressively coats my entire palate, striking my sensory perception like a heavy wooden mallet. I detect the subtle notes of toasted toffee and dark leather, a beverage designed explicitly for the coldest winter weather. The distillation apparatus performed its mechanical duty well, creating a highly magnificent, intoxicating amber spell. We swirl a heavy liquid gently against the crystal rim, while the illumination in the tasting room grows heavily dim. The angels take their atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there, a botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler.
a deeply smoky,
Incredibly rich, vanilla scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. The agricultural carol. The oak infuses the spirit with a highly magnificent grace, a beautiful maturation occurring in this subterranean place. Swallow the heavy vintage and feel the magnificent heat, a beautifully crafted, traditionally distilled world feat. Full carb, tip the spout, rich liquid flowing out, swirl slow, feel the glow. Oh, pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. Glass is empty, feel the gravity, barrel rests past the test. Sorting through the massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dreaded. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night. I desperately try to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of this stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demand. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I am caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit. A highly devastating, incredibly painful, romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. The chemical solvents cannot remove the awful trace, erase the lying expression right off of your face. The fabric is ruined, the material is totally torn, a terrible catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn. Scrub hard, soak deep, lies told, now weep, rinse out, loud shout, loud shout, loud. Confronting the reality trail where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric eating moth. Throw it out in the doubt, close the door, nevermore. The parched landscape is deeply cracked and severely broken. Not a single drop of moisture has been miraculously spoken. I walk across the massive shifting golden sand dunes, singing these incredibly thirsty, nomadic, arid tunes. The solar radiation bakes the terracotta soil to a crisp, while the dry wind blows past with a terrifying lisp. My canteen has been completely empty for 3 entire days, wandering endlessly through this magnificent desert haze.
The vultures circle patiently above the barren canyon ridge, a massive geographical gap without a single wooden bridge. I strike the stretched animal skin of my tribal hand drum, waiting for the elusive mythical rain clouds to finally come. The drought has lasted for an unprecedented, terrible decade, leaving the entirely dehydrated ecosystem completely betrayed. I seek the elusive shade of a solitary prickly cactus plant, chanting a desperate, highly repetitive survivalist chant. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain. Just an absolute, devastating lack of rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prism, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. A deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. The riverbed is completely devoid of any flowing streams, just the skeletal remains of our former aquatic dreams. I shake the hollow gourd filled with dried, rattling seeds, ignoring my severe, highly critical biological needs. The scorpions scurry beneath the baking jagged rocks, while the relentless equator sun continuously mocks our pathetic, desperate attempts to invoke the heavy storm, surviving the absolute harshest terrestrial norm. The mirage shimmers deceptively on the vast horizon line, an optical trick of an incredibly cruel, malicious design. I tap my wooden walking stick against the petrified wood, understanding the severe consequences as I probably should. The percussion echoes weakly across the desolate flatlands, played entirely by my blistered, heavily calloused hands. We march toward the distant, hazy purple mountain peaks, a highly dangerous journey that takes several brutal weeks. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain. Just an absolute, devastating lack of rain.